In this video, we're going to be going through a LinkedIn ad structure, which is not only built for the way that people buy, but it's also built to make your lives a whole lot easier as the person who manages it. Now, we've managed tens of millions of pounds of LinkedIn ad spend, with companies spending anywhere from £500 to £500,000 per month. So I've seen pretty much every setup there is. In this video, I'm going to go through my favorites. So let's dive straight into it. So one of the best things about LinkedIn ads is you can actually incorporate your brand, your product, and your performance marketing all within a campaign structure. So we start by going brand, product, and performance. And please forgive my 12-year-old handwriting. And typically what we would say is within a campaign group, you will have these three campaigns or ad sets now that they're called. But very much the objective of this brand layer is very much around awareness, and association. And by that, I mean, typically this is going to be a cold audience, especially when you start running it. People aren't going to have seen your ads before. So the two key things here are be able to start putting your brand out there. And then more importantly, the ads in themselves need to start associating the brand with the category so people can start making that link in their brain so it's easy for them to digest. And I'll show you a bit later on how this makes it easier for you guys to look at the metrics you should be monitoring with each of these levels. So the brand is around awareness and association. The product layer in itself is very much around consumption and also association. But I'd say in this stage, it's more like a differentiator association. So it's really going into deep of what the value prop of your business is, as well as what actually you are from a differentiation perspective in the minds of the customer. And then the performance layer is, you probably would have guessed it, activation. So this is kind of the foundation of what each of the different segments are used for. With the metrics, in this case, for the brand layer, we're very much going to be looking at and monitoring things like reach and things like dwell time. This then allows us to make sure that if we are doing ABM lists, we're making sure we're getting the highest audience penetration possible, as well as dwell time, making sure these are actually resonating with the segments that we're going after. So some of the key metrics we're going after. Now, a lot of people go straight into LinkedIn ads and start to go straight for the activation. Like, we've got this product, get a demo, get a trial, get a quote, get in contact. Not going to happen. So this brand element here is very much about making sure you have these ads that reach as many people as humanly possible with your budget at a high enough frequency. Now, just by the nature of the platform and the sort of tax that you pay in that platform, it's very much around, you're going to have a pretty high frequency, anywhere from at least 4 to 7 to be able to start to get probably audience penetration over 50%. But we've done lots of videos around how to increase that audience penetration anyway. So if we go down to the metrics for the consumption layer, we're very much going to be looking at things like watch time and engagement. Anything from click-through rate to people actually, liking, sharing, commenting on the post. And if you're doing thought leadership ads, which I'll get onto in a minute, the ad types for each of the layers, then looking at things like saves or shares, because this really shows that people are digesting it internally. And then with the activation layer, you have your performance is very much going to be looking at, your cost per acquisition, so actually cost per lead. If you're doing downstream assets, which I'll get onto, this is kind of going to be your direct response marketing layer, as it were. Now, what type of ads we use for each of these? Now, if we go into the brand layer, you're going to have your classic sort of problem/solution ads. You're going to have your vertical, social proof. And by that, I mean, if you have like a pillar, if you have a really good case study or case studies or testimonials of people that you've been working with who are really well known in the space, it's really good to have someone, the persona you're targeting, be the reference point for that vertical social proof, as well as the company, because then that allows people to have shortcuts in their mind to be like, hey, that person works in my role at this massive company. That sort of brings in that level of trust. You also have like what you call like the pain point for leadership ads. I'm running out of space there, so I'll just put PP, thought leadership ads. Remember, PP, pain point, is going to be one of your thought leadership ads, which I've done videos on around these types of ads and the framing of them, which I won't go too much into this video. Finally, I think a really key one for this level is your value prop videos, which are normally like 1 to 3 minute videos, which kind of go through and value stack all the stuff that your company does from a cold audience to then actually kind of going through the layers of differentiation, as well as anything else you'd need to know to stack all the value on top of the message to be able to be like, this person can watch the video for the first time and then maybe actually convert, even though these are the two reach and dwell time are the two metrics that we'd probably be looking at in most cases, just to make sure we're really getting as many people as potentially in market for our product or service to know about us as soon as possible. Because there could be, direct response. And I think people typically say they'll run this and they might have some brand equity that they can go and harvest straight away. And then people will see these ads and convert and it's going really well. But then that obviously is going to plateau off to a certain level because people aren't always going to be in market to buy what you're buying, especially if it's high lifetime value. Now we have the consumption. With the consumption layer, this is a super interesting layer. This is very much where the product marketing comes in. So you have the brand, which is the first touch point. Then you have the product layer. Now you can run this side by side, and I'll get into how you can set up these audiences and what we suggest at the top level in a minute. But these consumption ads are pretty much going to be like product loop videos. This is kind of where you go through maybe 3 to 5 of your most used or sought after features that people really like, why people change from someone else's product to your product. And it really is quite nice to be able to amplify these. I'm not quite sure why these lines have started to appear. I think they think I've typoed, which I can't even read that. So who knows if I typoed. There we go. So then we have that. We also have case study, deep dives, DDs. This ultimately, you wouldn't put a case study deep dive in the cold layer because most people don't even know who you are, why they're going to go through and read loads of in-depth case studies across like the board of all these, different clients you've been working with. They just kind of, this one here is very much playing on that sort of, if you're thinking about like the limbic system, this is very much going to be like the amygdala. I'm not even going to try and spell amygdala. And this is going to be like the prefrontal, which is like, pretty much this is your feeling brain where you're kind of skimming, but it's kind of like being taken over by autopilot, and it's trying to get that into the psyche and using like emotion and like pain points. And are these your biggest problems? Trying to get them to feel all those things which, you don't necessarily need to engage your brain to feel, and making it very easy to digest. The prefrontal cortex is very much your thinking brain. If you think about like the whole limbic system and how it works together, prefrontal cortex are going to be like longer product loop videos, deeper dive case studies, like events, whether that's advertising for a live event, pre-event, post-event, whatever it may be. What we call like downstream assets. Jesus, I should have planned my space better. Where ultimately you don't want necessarily always be promoting things like white papers and whatnot, because anyone could be interested. Downstream could be things like calculators or things that actually tie into someone having a direct need for what it is your product is, and it solves. So if someone's going to download that asset because they wanted the pricing for something, or they want to actually have a small limited feature or functionality that you've built out, which is super, super powerful. And this is where you put them. And in here you can also put the thought leadership ads and everything else. I'm not going to try and cram anything more into there, but just think anything that's more product marketing related, how you differentiate, deeper dive stuff, things that actually take a bit more thinking. And then you have your performance media. Now your performance media, again, is everything from your direct CTAs. And it'll also be your direct CTAs, and it'll be your offers, the likes of your emails. If you are going to incentivize, do it in here. But then what I like to do here is just, and I'll get on to why this is important, is use our best problem/solution ads and our best sort of like social proof ads down here as well, and just really crank up that frequency, because I'll get onto in a minute why this is quite an important frequency game to get into it here compared to the rest. So with brand, obviously you can go and target the way you want. What we suggest that this is in a ad set, you want to go in, either create a separate campaign group or a different subset within that same campaign group. So the 3 same ad sets, but a different vertical. So even if you are targeting like general verticals, if you do find ones that work quite well, you're always going to get better performance, we found, if you target vertical specific, mainly because if your software, you fit into their use case and their flow of how they use things internally. And also it makes it feel like you're speaking directly more to that person, which again is another good heuristic for a brand campaign, as you were. You then have the product. Now you can either run this as well to the cold audience as well. I'm not necessarily a fan of saying, you need to put these people into an audience. I keep pointing at the screen like you can see what I'm pointing at. You don't have to keep putting these people into an audience, then show to these people. But what I would say is, if you did want to start being like anyone who engages or connects or watches like half of this this video here into then this audience, you probably will benefit a little bit more from the relevancy score, because these audiences have then been shown to your content before and they have clicked on it, which means LinkedIn and ads are going to think they're super likely going to click on it again, which will increase your relevancy, which ultimately will make it cheaper in the second place auction. I'm not going to get too much into nuanced tactics. So you either run this to the same audience at the same time, just if you want to keep getting the impressions out there, don't really mind. Or you can actually create audiences for all of these ads in here and then actually just keep showing them to the product. I wouldn't say you need to negate them out of the brand campaign when you start showing them the product, mainly because this audience is so big, the frequency is probably quite low anyway, depending on relative budget size. The performance one is really where it becomes most important, because this, I wouldn't say anyone who engages with the product ad, I wouldn't say start showing the performance ads because it's going to muddy the waters. What I would say is if you are running any performance media like paid search, for example, any like Google ads, put that directly into this high frequency content, because you know they have organizational intent, and that's something that we want to tap into, right? Because they've typed in XYZ software, they're in the buying journey, they kind of want to do it now, so we can kind of show them as many ads as we can over the next few weeks, I think, to kind of stay in the forefront of mind over like a 30-day, 90-day, depending on what your buyer journey is. I think you can probably drop out of that, but I think it's very much just it's not even going to do anything more to push them more to prefer you, but it's almost like just getting these things in front of them whilst they're in that short buying journey, isn't going to hurt. And it gives them sort of like, and if they haven't converted at all on Google Ads, which 95% of people probably won't, you then kind of have that list. And that's one of the interesting things as well here, is you can kind of have your webhooks. And those webhooks are people that have just come through from Google Ads. They haven't converted. You can start to see a list of all these companies. You can then webhook them into like the likes of Clay or a software, which then puts them into their outbound sequence or whatever it may be. So this is kind of your performance layer. This is like direct response, like performance down to its core, right? You then also have people that have like high engagement across all of these campaigns. So I'd say for a 30-day period, if someone's shown they're clicking on loads of these ads, they may not be in market, but we can always sort of test out and add them in there. Same with if they've gone through to your company page. God, my writing's getting worse. And any other high intent activity that you have been doing and pushing people towards certain pages, whether they've been to product pages, pricing page, you can put them all into here and kind of segment this off as its own like performance marketing. And then you have your brand and your product marketing work in itself. I'm not going to go too much into frequencies and budget sizes in this, because as you can see, I've literally run out of space. I probably could have scrolled down. Yeah, I could have scrolled down. But anyway, bro, if you'd like me to type this up into a neater document, let me know, because I appreciate that as illegible and pretty much damn near unusable. If you want to look at a bit more of a polished presentation around the biggest mistakes that people make in LinkedIn ads and what you should be avoiding this year, then I'll link to that video up here.